Hello everyone, how's everyone doing? You guys doing good too? I'm doing good too. Let's get into today's video session. Here we go! Yeah, I do like my rock and music. Out to run for a bit of tune in there as well for you guys. From Yu Suzuki's classic game. Very good game to have, isn't it? So welcome back on my session today. Today we're gonna talk about Nintendo. Yeah, Nintendo. Nintendo has produced quite a few portable devices. We're gonna take this to Nintendo Switch versus Sony PS5 versus Microsoft Xbox Series X. Because there's something really big is going on. The competition, it looks really different this time around. Usually it's based on home consoles, isn't it? All the previous generations, that's what from Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. They've been home consoles. But this one is totally different. And I can see it being very a great threat coming from Nintendo. This is the thing that a lot of people don't understand. What happened this time when we saw the sales? A lot of people didn't understand what was going on. What was going in this competition. This was very, very interesting to know what is going on. Let's just go to the previous systems. You're gonna think this is bizarre, but it's not. You're gonna think, what am I talking about? But once you know you're listening to what I'm saying, you'll soon find out what I'm trying to say here. Anything that you don't understand, please put it below the comment and I will try to answer your questions. Alright? So here we go. We're going to start off with what happened in this competition. Sony PSP versus Nintendo DS. Now, both of these consoles are handheld devices, aren't they? One coming from Sony, one coming from Nintendo. If you look at the competition in this one, right? Who actually won in this one? You probably already know. I probably don't really need to tell you that. Sony lost against Nintendo. Sony PSP did not beat the Nintendo DS. What? Even the system was more powerful and it was better. I'm afraid it didn't win at all. Nintendo DS won. Yeah. Now the biggest thing about of Sony PSP, we know it played UMD discs, which was similar to mini discs, and on this UMD discs you get games and movies. That's what Sony did. Even doing that, still couldn't win. And the other part of the system was it was multimedia, photos, music, video files. It did all that. Is that something really big? Well, it achieved around about probably just over 80 million sales. All right, that's how much Sony PSP. Sony PSP got over 80 million. That's a little bit more than 80, just about between 80 to 82 million. It was between them. It's got an estimation on that what it got. But now Nintendo DS, you're not gonna believe this. What how much is sold? Nintendo DS got 154 million sales. Whoa! Check it out, dude. That is a lot of sales in terms of what we are seeing. Okay, if the Sony PSP was using UMD discs, what was Nintendo DS using? It was using game cards. Okay, these cartridges only had games on them. Okay, and I think on the cartridge use same games as well. Stuff like that. But the Sony PSP was a single screen. Nintendo DS was a dual screen. Like in games like Mario Kart, you got the game at the top, then you got a map at the bottom. You can see where your car is going, left and right, and all that. And even games like Sonic Rush, when Sonic is running from the top, he goes down. When he's running down, you can see him kind of running downwards to the bottom screen. The dual screen did stuff like that. But I want to know, where was the 154 million sales coming from? Was it literally the dual screen? In one aspect, it was, where you get a stylus pen using touchscreen at the bottom of the screen, and you could use dual screen. It's been said that you probably know about flashcards. For example, R4DS. It was a flash card, okay, which goes in the same cartridge slot as the game card. What are you getting here? There was a software called Moonshell. Moonshell is a software where you can put Nintendo DS games. So how does that work? It's more like an emulation thing. So what you do, you go to some websites, the ROMs, you put them into a flash card, into the ROMs folder, and you can play a lot of free Nintendo DS games. It didn't just do that. You could do photo, music, videos, just like PSP, man. It wasn't good quality like the PSP, but it still did the thing. I like the photo thing, where on the bottom screen you get all the pictures, and when you click on it, you can view them on the top screen. It did stuff like that, which is a kind of bonus to me. which is really good. And if you got music tracks or video files, you can see all the tracks and videos at the bottom, and then you can view on the top screen. So I had these kind of facilities. The R4DS like flashcards, that's where the sales come from. Because you get free DS games. Not only that, you can play simulators on them. You could emulation. What kind of emulations can you do? Game Boy Color, Game Gear, Sega Mega Drive, Super Nintendo, and so on. You got these kind of emulators on it. So it did quite a lot. All that kind of stuff. But most majority sales were coming from R4DS, where you can get free DS games, free emulators with ROMs, photos, music, videos. You can just download them and play them. You have to convert them and all that. Obviously, the photos will be JPEG. The music tracks gotta be MP3. And I think the video files was DPG file. What the heck is that? You have to get a program to convert your video files into DPG files. And that's how it works onto the DS system. You need that. So most majority sales were coming from the R4DS, which is giving you free content and stuff like that. First of all, it all started with the Nintendo DS game cards, giving you dual screen entertainment. It did come from that, but a lot of sales were coming from the R4DS using Moonshell software, man. That's what it was about. And Nintendo DS got 154 million sales, man. So in that competition, Sony PSP lost, Nintendo DS won. I think one of the most important game on Nintendo DS was uh, Metroid Prime Hunters. That game was really good. It was a great FPS shooter. There were some good classic games on there like Metroid Prime Hunters, Nano Stray, uh, Jump, All Stars, um, Star Wars, Force Unleashed, Star Wars Lethal Alliance, New Super Mario Brothers, Mario Kart DS, and so on. There were some really, really good titles on Nintendo DS, and a lot of people probably enjoy them. Of course, Super Mario 64 DS, which is a great 3D platformer that was far better than any Sony PSP platform game you will ever play. There were some interesting games on there, like Super Mario 64 DS, Ridge Racer DS, New Super Mario Brothers, Metro Prime Hunters, Star Wars Force Unleashed. Using the touchscreen was a kind of good experience. Sonic Rush. Using two dual screens, man. There was some really interesting stuff on there. Yeah, and there you go. So Nintendo DS won that competition. The next systems we're going to talk about is hold on. Yeah, Sony PSVR and Nintendo 3DS. Already, the Sony PSP got 80 million and Nintendo DS got 154 million sales, man. It's just a complete surpassing sales eyes. Sony PSVR, right, only achieved at 12 million sales. What the heck? around about constantly 12, 30 million sales. That's all he got. Absolutely terrible. So what was the reason behind it? It's getting bad sales. One thing that if you got Sony PSP, which was popular, you should have released Sony PSP 2 with better hardware, touchscreen, and the multimedia features what the PSP had. Sony PS Vita came with really weird features, which I thought were really stupid. Okay, touchscreen, that's fine, that's good to go. Then we got the 3G SIM card slot. What that was, it gives you data for internet access, and also you can telephone from there. Who the heck wants to use a telephone? If you look at the Sony PSVR, using it like a voice for voice calls and internet access through Wi-Fi and 3G, you go on contract. The problem with this was when you go on data contracts, they were really expensive back in 2012. They were really expensive. I mean, who would want to spend money on a SIM card like Vodafone? I think that's what he was using, Vodafone. I remember that I used to have a Vodafone in there. You have to get a kind of a plan. And it was around about £20 per month. It's pretty expensive, man. Really expensive. And then you got a real touchpad. These are all dumb features, man. Just pointless. If you already got a smartphone, you can use those voice calls. Oh yeah, and PS Vita just text messages as well. Goodness sake, man. Problem here that is smartphones are amazing. Every person will have a smartphone in their pocket. He will have voice calls in there, text messages, and a contract for your calls, text messages, and data for internet access. It's all good to go stuff. It's really good. And it's worth it on a phone, isn't it? Every single person's already got a phone. And it's got all them features. Who would want to go? So if everyone's already got a phone, who would want to carry a PSVR outside with a 3G SIM card in there? That looks pointless. And it's really expensive. It's not worth it, man. A lot of people looked into these kind of things. They were really disappointed what Sony was doing. Not only that, Sony's more dumber than that. Sony did not give any support to PS Vita. It put full force into Sony PS4. All the support was given there. He wasn't doing anything for PS Vita games. Obviously, the developers found out it wasn't selling so well. Then the developers didn't go on it. And it lost all interest and sales. I think the starting was bad because a lot of people saw the features and they didn't like them. And there wasn't, even in the future, they probably could ignore the features, or some people didn't. Even some people did, But they found out there's not enough games on the system. They didn't like it. Then it became a big, massive flop. That's Sony PS Vita for you. A very terrible handheld gaming device with stupid features and bad support for PS Vita gaming from Sony. How can you do such a stupid thing like that? You kill the system yourself. When you got Sony PSP, you're supposed to be using Sony PSP 2 with the multimedia features and more powerful hardware. That's what you need to do with the touchscreen in there. Then it goes with this dodgy system which giving you, he thinks it's trying to give you everything with it. Okay, anyway, then the competition was against Nintendo 3DS. Did Nintendo 3DS sell very well? Yeah, it did. Sony PS Vita, 12 million man. Absolutely rubbish. Nintendo 3DS, are you ready for this? It sold about 75 million. Whoa! Where the heck is 12 million and where is 75 million, man? Nintendo 3DS again was dual screen like the Nintendo DS. The game at the top, a map at the bottom, or the icons what you want to do with the bottom screen. This system on the right hand side had a 3D slider. This thing was called a 3D effect. It was to be said, it gives you real 3D graphics. Okay? It's a similar thing that you go in the cinema and you get 3D movies, don't you? When you wear the binoculars. Them little spectacles, what we call them. They had two colors on them. Added in there. But that was with the spectacles you wear. But Nintendo's idea here was without spectacles. Real 3D graphics without spectacles. Pretty good idea. But some saying it was bad for your eyes. Not good for your health and stuff like that. This system, right? Nintendo 3DS. The 3D, it says, look, if you look at the name, it says 3DS. 3D system. It's got 3D, you see, in the system. It brought games like Ridge Racer 3D, Super Street Fighter 4 3D, Tekken, I think it's called Tekken Prime 3D, and so on. These games, when you use the slider, you have to put in a position to see the 3D graphics. It was doing stuff like that. But you have to keep in a position, isn't it? It was a bit blurry for your eyes and it was really hard to see. But then they bought an improved version called the new 3DS XL, something like that. That was a much improved 3D. But still, it wasn't improving anything. The 3D did improve and it gave you uplift for the sales. It couldn't give much sales to it really. Because already people were negative against the 3D in the system. They didn't actually like it. The problem with this thing was that when you know the slider, if you take it all the way down, it turns off. The more higher you go, higher you go, you can keep on moving up, down. The more powerful the 3D gets. You can never go to maximum. That's gonna be very terrible for your eyes. The new 3DS XL was improved 3D. It was been said it was a lot better than the previous Nintendo 3DS we had. Uh, the original Nintendo 3DS was 3.5 screen size. The new 3DS XL was one of the largest from the Nintendo 3DS family of systems, which was 4.8 screen size. So, where did Nintendo 3DS get all the 75 million sales from? Of course, the games looked great. They were really, really impressive. These games were much better than the Sony PS Vita. Trust me on that, they were much better. I mean, if you look at the original game on PS Vita, it was rubbish. It was absolutely rubbish. It looks like you're playing a flipping demo. But Nintendo 3DS had Ridge Racer 3D. Here's a far better game. It's pretty enjoyable. And he had games like Luigi Mansion Dark Moon, uh, Star Fox 64, which is a similar game to Lila Wars. Really good using dual screen. That was a great Nintendo 3DS game. Kid Icarus, uh, Super Smash Bros. Derelive Dimensions, Super Street 4 3D, Tekken Prime 3D. There was great fun games like that. This system was far better. I think a lot of the people enjoyed its games. And the 3D. The 3D, you probably will last with for 2-3 months, but the novelty wears off. It will eventually wears off. You will do it for some time. Then after that, you just don't want to bother with it anymore. It's just the way the 3D thing goes, isn't it? But the overall, the system was really good. It was a really nice system. It was quality system with good graphics and everything. Very, very nice machine. Very good design. It was very well designed. Good sound quality. Very good screens with good visuals. Excellent system. Even the PS Vita was kind of advanced. It wasn't that good. I think if you look at it in my way, Nintendo 3DS hardware is pretty good as well. It was pretty powerful. Most majority of the games on the and the graphics, gameplay, Nintendo 3DS is better. One of the games I really liked on this was Sonic Generations. You've probably seen it in the home consoles as well. It had great, like a Mega Drive type of graphics. I like the mushroom hill in there, which was from Sonic and Knuckles. You know that music. Dun, 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 dun. That was in the original Mega Drive, innit? But on the uh, Nintendo 3DS version, wow, man, the graphics were better, the gameplay is improved, the music is better. Really, really good game this was. So even in this competition, Sony PS Vita lost. Nintendo 3DS won. What points am I making here? Now, if you look at that, 2 times Sony has lost against Nintendo. Nintendo DS, Nintendo 3DS won the competition twice. Now, let's go into the final part. Nintendo Switch, Sony PS5 and Microsoft Xbox Series X. You probably heard of that. Sony PS5 and Microsoft Xbox Series X finally went on sale and it completely sold out from all shops. So what does that prove? Does it prove anything? Understand previously Nintendo DS, Nintendo 3DS are portable gaming devices. I'll tell you what I mean here. Now Nintendo Switch is handheld, tabletop, TV. Now again in the Nintendo Switch, it's a handheld first. It's an handheld. Again, that's a great threat. That's what the point I was trying to make here. What happened in this competition when even Sony PS5 and Xbox Series X in a competition? You ain't gonna believe it. Nintendo won. Again. How surprising is that? Sony and Microsoft lost. If you look at most majority information, even the articles, do you know what comment Sony and Microsoft made? What do you guys think? Did they make any comment? No, no, no comments. You're probably thinking, was there a shortage? Was there many systems going around? If that was the point, then why did Sony and Microsoft say that? They didn't mention anything. They didn't say nothing about that. Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe something else. What I'm thinking here, Nintendo Switch is handheld again. Alright? But the sales are not just coming from the handheld mode. It's coming from tabletop and TV. Let's clear something here. Majority time, a handheld mode is going to be focused for kids. If you look at the previous systems like Nintendo DS and Nintendo 3DS, a lot of kids bought them. I've seen lots of people traveling with Nintendo Switch in handheld mode. They're kids or teenagers. A lot of them people are buying it. Tabletop. Who buys that? Tabletop is experience. It's for an aeroplane. You can play in the aeroplane. A lot of people are doing that. Or you can take it to some kind of a party, and then you can get all the people around you and enjoy the tabletop mode and play multiplayer games. Alright? And finally, television. Television, a home console experience. There's 3 different things in Nintendo Switch. 3 different things. Nobody actually knows this one, but Nintendo keeps on winning in the handheld market. And that same thing is in Nintendo Switch again, the handheld. If you look at the most majority sales, tabletop and TV, they are coming from there as well. But the most majority sales are coming from the handheld mode. If you look at this month, when people are gonna give gifts, alright? Or people are gonna buy it. A lot of kids are gonna buy this system because they like to enjoy in handheld mode. They're gonna make a lot of sales out of that. How is Sony PS5 and Microsoft Xbox Series X gonna challenge that? Logically think about it. A handheld market is quite strong. It's stronger than the home console business. Because there's 2 things in Nintendo Switch that sets it apart from Sony PS5 and Microsoft Xbox Series X. Handheld mode, where you can have it in your hand and play it like a handheld gaming machine. You're gonna see a lot of kids and teenagers playing on that mode. And then you got adults playing on the tabletop mode, which is outside as well. But handheld and tabletops used outside. Tabletop, you can get loads of people around you. If someone's even playing a basketball, not in the game. Really, if someone's playing basketball, and when they're finished playing basketball, a few of these people can come around, get some controllers, and they can start playing on tabletop mode. And that's where Sony PS5 X and Microsoft Xbox Series X, they can't come in that. They can't come in handheld and tabletop mode. How are they going to competition there? You won't able to. Alone, the handheld mode will destroy them. It will completely finish them. A hardware power doesn't matter. It's not about hardware. No, it's not about power, is it? It's not about power. It's about the features. It's a hybrid games console. The two features are really important for people, the customers. They want to do that. Otherwise, imagine Nintendo Switch didn't have these modes. People will be connecting game controllers on smartphones to play a handheld mode, or they use tablets for tabletop modes. Why can't you use a smartphone for tabletop mode? It's too small. It's too small. If we got a smartphone, right? Let me give you examples here. When we use smartphones, we can use one of these controllers. Moga Pro game controller. Look at this controller. It's a Premier controller. Look at this. Thumbstick there. Thumbstick there. D-pad there. Face buttons there. Shoulder buttons. If you look in the orange bar here at the bottom, you lift it up. See that? It's like that. Let me just show you something. Okay. This is, doesn't matter, any smartphone will do. It's on the crap phones these are. Alright. What you do here, you put in there, look. Look at that. You're watching the phones here. Some of the phones. See that? You put in like that. And then once that's in there, you can play with it. With the phone. So you connect, you put the phone there, then you can use one of these controllers, right? And that's it. And you can play on it. How amazing is that? So that's the phone one. And it's easy to slip out. Look at this. Look at that. It's that easy. Because that thing is made for a phone, isn't it? I just put it down. Okay, that's that controller. Hold on. When you got a bigger device, right? Tabletop, right? You could use it as well. You could use this controller like a tabletop. Now it's put down here, and then you can have a device in front of you. You can start playing on it. All right. This is an iPad 9023, which is for much larger displays. You could put a tablet in the middle here. Okay. Thumbstick there. Thumbstick there. Keypad there. Face buttons there. Okay. And shoulder ones there. And there's loads of buttons. Look. Okay. Same here. Okay. All the buttons there. And the other thing about this, there's a lever here. You do that, then it stretches out more. Look. See that? Because normally it's 5-inch. When you pull it out, it's 10-inch. But there is another feature that even the companies know. You can have a few inches more. Look at that. Look at that. You can just quickly lob the machine in there, and you can have an extra inch in there. But this wouldn't be for tabletop. That's for your tablet, right? You could put a tablet in there and enjoy that. But this is the best controller for your tabletop mode. You see, if Nintendo Switch didn't have all that, it would have lost some features, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be that popular. Well, it wouldn't be hybrid then, wouldn't it? Because if you're using this for smartphone and tablet, then what? Then I don't think Nintendo would have went this far. But Nintendo was so clever. He brought a device like in a tablet with G-Con controllers on the left and right, handheld, tabletop, and TV mode. Now Sony PS5 and Microsoft Xbox Series X, it's only for the television. Do you think that just having powerful hardware would make them a lot of sales? If that was the point, then check this out. If you look at Sony PS4 and Microsoft Xbox One, this was in their era, wasn't it, of Nintendo Switch. Them systems are selling so badly. They haven't never been the Nintendo Switch. For at least 23 months in a row, Nintendo Switch has been beating the Sony PS4 and Microsoft Xbox One. What does that actually mean? It means that each month it's been beating them in sales. Each month. We're talking about 23 months in a row. Same thing was happening then. How is that going to improve with Sony and Microsoft this generation? Which was, they released the machine in December or something. How are they going to do it? Do they have any think that they can actually beat Nintendo? I don't think so. It's pretty tough. It's pretty tough, man. It's very hard that they can beat Nintendo. It doesn't make any sense to me. Because Nintendo has always been a force to reckon with handheld gaming market. And that's the thing that nobody can beat. It's got two extra features, handheld and tabletop. This is what is making the sell the system. Hardware won't matter, man. Maybe you didn't know this, but Nintendo's got plans for upgrading the system. It is a more advanced system. We're going to be talking about that in a different video because Nintendo knows himself. Nintendo Switch is a bit out of date. Yeah, he needs a bit of a system that can look similar to the Sony PS5 and Microsoft Xbox Series X. But understand one thing, Nintendo Switch beat both the Sony PS5 and Microsoft Xbox Series X. Once again, he defeats them. And you gotta understand, Nintendo Switch is a 3 years old system. And it still beats the Sony PS5 and Microsoft Xbox Series X. How does Sony Microsoft how does Sony and Microsoft answer to that? Have they got any answer to that? I don't think they have. If they have, tell us. Why didn't you succeed? Why did you lost again? Trust me. Trust me on this. Trust me on this. They lost for 2 years, right? When they had Sony PS4 and Microsoft Xbox One, they couldn't do nothing in 2 years, man, to the system. 23 months in a row, man. And now again, the 24th month, they lose a game. That's be unfortunate, isn't it? I do think Nintendo game exclusives are better than Sony Microsoft, man. Okay? Understand that you got three features: handheld, tabletop, TV modes. And the first party support coming from Nintendo. Obviously, Nintendo is the best game developer. You can't beat that, can you? They can have problems. You have to understand what I'm saying here. Alone, the handheld mode will finish them off. Believe me on that. Nobody could touch Nintendo in the handheld gaming market. But this system is hybrid, man. It's 3-in-1. If they got any force, which covers Sony PS5 and Microsoft Xbox Series X against Nintendo Switch, let's see what you can do. He's gonna be even a bigger threat. Nintendo is when he upgrades the system in January 2021. What's gonna happen then? Already they lost with the 3 year system. When the new machine comes out and he's putting that against them two machines, he's gonna be in a really good stand. A lot of people are gonna go out there and go buy it again. Oh man, I don't know what the hell's gonna happen. Nintendo is the force to reckon with, man. So I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah, Nintendo is gonna be a great threat, man, against Sony and Microsoft. Sony and Microsoft don't know what they're doing, man. It's gonna be really dangerous. It can be they might lose lots of sales and they might lose a lot of developers eventually. We'll have to just wait and see what really happens. I believe that all the way Nintendo is gonna win the competition for some time. I don't really believe that Sony and Microsoft can win this competition. Not a chance. They're gonna start losing again. When Nintendo Switch is gonna start selling more and more developers will come on that system. Because Nintendo's first party, they got incredible games on there, man. I think since they made games like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Edition, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Maker, ARMS, Super Smash Bros., Super Mario 3D, Luigi Mansion 3. What are you gonna do? They're all great games, man. On top of that, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Mario Warriors, Yoshi's Woolly World, and so on. The threat will continue in the new year, January 2021 and onwards. It's gonna carry on. Come on, man. The Nintendo Switch has already got 68.3 million sales. And this year, it's gonna make more sales, man. It's not still over yet. Because the sales chart we're looking at, 68.3 million, it's coming from 31st September 2020. Yeah. We don't know the sales of October. We don't know the sales of November. And then throughout this month, December, which people are going to give gifts from kids, teenagers, and adults are going to buy this thing. It's going to be crazy, man. When we're going to find out the exact sales at the end of this year what Nintendo Switch has achieved. And it's telling us Nintendo Switch is the #1 games console for the December 2020. That's definitely going to happen. So there you have it. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying here. And you got great tech knowledge. What can happen from this month and onwards from January 2021. January 2021. Yeah. Great stuff is going to happen. So stay with Nintendo, everyone, all the way. It's going to do bigger rounds. Trust me on that. So I'm happy to share this information with you guys. And it's always a good thing that I'm giving you this latest information. No one has actually mentioned you all this. Why did Sony Microsoft even lost? They would have lost anyway. They don't have these kind of modes. They don't have these kind of games anyway. Because Nintendo Switch is still pretty powerful. You haven't seen nothing yet. When Nintendo Switch will be upgraded in early 2021. Oh my gosh. This is a thing to check out. We gotta see the graphics and gameplay. Nintendo Switch. So there you have it. Give me likes, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye from now.